This is Gilbert Andrew Garcia saying thank you to CNBC for having me recently on Squawk Box. Today I'm in New York City visiting with Lin-Manuel Miranda. So today's show will be a rebroadcast of Miss Mamie Johnson, the author of Audacity of Caring. She is a caregiver and has been working with seniors for many years. Her story is amazing. Please join me in listening to my rebroadcast of Miss Mamie Johnson. This is Gilbert Andrew Garcia of A Tip from Gilbert, talk, inspiration, and prayer. Listen to my show every Monday from 11 to 12 on KWWJ 1360 AM, KYOK 1140 AM, KCOH at 1230 KCOH.com, Sankeet Radio at 95.1 FM, 1460 AM, and Latino Sports, KEYH 850 AM. Call in at 832-570-8075 and follow me on social media. See you then. All right, Houston, you have me, Gilbert Garcia, with another tip from me, talk, inspiration, and prayer. And I have a thank you, studio audience. We've got a great show. Before I go on that show, of course, as a proud father, I've got to say a little bit about my daughter. And, of course, y'all know I talk about her. Juju, my apple of my eye, love of my life, my baby girl, the only girl of 4 kids. And I'm happy to report that she will now be going in the fall to the University of Chicago. And that's where she was admitted, and that's what we accepted. And it was just a wonderful experience taking a tour there, and I'm so thrilled. And, of course, we're going through all those last senior things. And this yesterday, actually, we had our last concert because she, of course, is in choir, and it was beautiful to see them sing. And so for those of you who are parents and you've had, little ones that have grown up to be big ones, you know what I'm feeling because I'm nervous, I'm scared. I don't want her to go, but yet I know she has to go, and I know it's what's good for her, and I'm already crying. And so you know exactly how I feel. But we have another great guest here, and this is Miss Mamie Johnson. So, Miss Johnson, welcome for being on A Tip from Gilbert.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. Mm-hmm. It's a pleasure and a blessing as well.
Wonderful. And we're going to talk about a lot of things because you've had a pretty incredible life. And we're going to talk about that. Everything from your skills as a artist, recording artist, everything as an author, everything from amazing teacher, educator. And of course, your book is all about taking care of seniors. And so it's kind of like the same thing, but on the opposite end of what I talked about being a parent, it's about taking care of your parents and taking care of seniors, which is one of the most glorious things that anyone can do.
Absolutely.
And we're going to talk about that because I want to talk about what inspired you. I want to talk about your book. And this is her book. And of course, you can get it on Amazon. You can get it everywhere. And soon it will be one of those books on tape. So there's no excuse not to know about the Audacity of Caring because it will be available for you to listen to on your car on the way to work. That's the way to do it. So let's go into it. So first of all, Miss Johnson, how are you today?
I'm great. Yeah. I'm blessed and I'm ready.
Yeah, I like that. Blessed and ready. You know what? You got that look of ready. You got that look like, doggone it, I'm ready to talk about everything. And you are a graduate of TSU in Prairie View?
Yes.
And what was it like? Did you have a good experience?
Yes, I did. Matter of fact, at Prairie View, one of my things as a freshman, I was on a talent show.
No kidding.
And I had a lot of competition. I was the last one to present my skill. I played the piano and I sang "Who's Loving You" by Lionel Richie.
Yep.
I should never forget his name because I won.
You won?
I won.
Can you give me a few bars of that?
Oh, All right.
Come on, do it. It's called Who's Loving You?
Who's loving you?
Okay, are you ready,
I wasn't
Houston?
ready for this.
No, but this is what this show's all about. It's about spontaneity. And so here we go, Houston. This is our version by Miss Mamie Johnson of Lionel Richie's incredible song, Who's Loving You?
And I wonder who's loving you. Life without love is so. That's it.
Woo! Oh my God. I mean, and Houston, don't expect me to sing because I can't sing. But I can appreciate people who sing without instruments, a cappella, and all that, because that's incredible. So you won, and that's what really launched your whole love about music, I suppose.
Yes. I began when I was 6 years old.
6 years old?
Yes. My mom.
So that was like
insisted.
20 years ago?
Somewhat
There you go.
around that time.
There you go. But keep going. So your mom said you got to learn the piano.
Got to learn it because she was a leader of a choir in a Methodist church, and we did gospel music, which was a different genre, well, somewhat slightly different from what was being used all the time. So she wanted me to accompany her, and I started with one finger playing any notes that I wanted, and she encouraged me so and always told me that I did good. So I pursued it with her insistence.
How wonderful. Sometimes it takes a parent to say, come on, I want you to, you got to do it. And then you fall in love with it.
Absolutely.
And that's what happened to you.
That's exactly what happened to me. That is my passion. That is one of my skills. And I'm still part of that realm.
Well, let's go through something because we're going to be talking all over because I want to go back to, young Miss Johnson, what it was like growing up. I want to go into what motivated you. I want to go into being Teacher of the Year. But let's go reverse. The audacity of caring. One of my partners has been taking care of her parents. And I know others who are I'm at that age that are taking care of their parents. Talk a little bit about that because that really is one of the greatest callings of life. To be able to close the circle of life and take care of your parents who took care of you when you were an infant. Tell us a little bit about what inspired you for your book.
Well, there were several things. Number one, I loved my parents. They were loving, they were caring, and they instilled in me this thing of caring. And I realized that was my purpose in life when I was younger. I was able to understand what it was like to be cared and loved for. Even though I had other siblings, my care required a little bit more than the others because I had a sickness. I had an illness. I was born premature and was not expected to live.
No kidding.
Yes, but the Lord was in my life. Even when I was in my mother's womb, I had a purpose in life because after I was able to go home after being so small, there were a lot of things that my parents had to learn how to take care of me. And they did. They slept with one eye open and one eye closed so that they could make sure that I was okay during the night. And they monitored my every activity at school and every place because I had epileptic seizures.
Yes, epilepsy.
And it would always occur, or sometimes occur, when I would sleep or take a nap or whatever. So I grew up knowing that I was different from my friends or whatever, but I started praying to be normal. But my parents always instilled in me that I was normal I was normal as anybody else, and I could do anything that I wanted to do as long as I remembered that God was my provider and my helper. And do you know, Gilbert, that stayed with me because I gave my life to Christ at the age of 14 when he healed my body. I no longer was suffering with epileptic seizures.
Wow.
I am very much healthy. I'm on no medicine other than a little bit low gram, 5 milligram blood pressure pills, because every time I go to the doctor, I know I'm going, and if I'm hurting, my blood pressure is going to go up.
Mm-hmm.
But I just got on blood pressure pills about a year ago, and I don't take them all the time. I hope my doctor's not listening to me, but I don't need to because I exercise. I know what it is to take care of myself. And I learned that from my parents when they were taking care of me. And I've learned that when I was a caregiver. Take care of yourself. Love yourself. Respect yourself. Forgive yourself.
Well, you only have one self. And you're only on this planet one time.
Absolutely.
And so you got to just make it. You got to make it bold and big, and you got to live every day like it's your last. And you got to take care of people. Let me ask you something, if you don't mind me asking.
I don't mind.
How early were you born? When you say you were born early, do you recall?
I don't. But I know I stayed in the hospital for 6 months.
6 months?
Yes.
Wow. What an amazing thing when you think of these doctors who are able to take care of you and get your organs all working. Because, it's all about the organ development, probably is still developing.
Absolutely.
How incredible. What an incredible story. So going back for a moment, being a caretaker, is that the right word to use?
It's caregiver or caretaker.
Caregiver, excuse me.
Yes.
What an incredible calling. And that is one of the most ultimate sacrifices in love, because it's a sacrifice. And they need it more than ever, your parents. Tell us a little bit about what inspired you. And have you ever been a caregiver?
No, never. What inspired me was that I love my parents dearly. And for me to have to take care of them, it was an honor and a blessing, because when I did give my life to God, I had asked him to let me be the one to take care of my parents in their declining years. And he honored that prayer, and I'm thankful for that.
Are your parents with us?
No, they are deceased.
How were those last year? What was that like, taking care of them?
It was like a reverse identity. I was taking care of my parents instead of my parents taking care of me. And I didn't know how to take care of them in being in that role. But God was with me all the time. He showed me what to do. He showed me the way, because I trusted in him, which was what I was raised to know, that all of your blessings and everything that you need comes from God.
Amen for that. We have a caller already. Let's take that caller. Is there a Ruby there? Is there a Ruby there? Ruby. When I think of that name, Ruby, I think of that song by the Rolling Stones. Goodbye, Ruby Tuesday. Ruby, are you there?
I'm here. Hi, Gilbert, and hi, Miss Johnson. How are you?
Oh, how are you, Ruby?
Did you hear me?
I'm great.
Did you hear my rendition of Ruby Tuesday?
I did. I heard the last lyric.
Oh my goodness. Ruby, what do you got for Miss Johnson? It's an incredible thing when you think about she's come full circle in life. She was born, I'm going to use the term, a preemie, which is what we use as slang, premature. And then she went through life, and we're going to talk about her extraordinary life. And then she became a caregiver of her parents. And of course, that inspired her for her book, The Audacity of Caring. And that's such an extraordinary calling. to come full circle and to take care of your parents. But Ruby, what do you got for Miss Johnson?
Well, that's kind of what I was reaching out to, Miss Johnson. I was very fortunate that I had both my parents. Both were 94. My mom is still with me. My father passed about a month ago. But I kind of in that realm, right, of having to take care of elderly parents. And I'm going to get your book because I feel like just when I think I know what I'm doing, there's a wrench that's thrown into it. And so I was just reaching out because, every day is a blessing. But I would like to know, what are, if you could give the best advice for someone who is dealing with elderly parents, what's the best advice to move forward, to keep kind of that balance of work, home life, and parents?
Wow, that's a great one because it's taxing. It's a lot of time, and they probably. I'm just making it up because I don't know. My mom is 85, and I'm blessed that she's sort of still mentally there and physically there, so she's got great genes. I lost my father a couple of years ago, but I can imagine that when you get to a point when maybe they don't recognize you, or then maybe they forgot when they were last talked to you. I can imagine those things happening. So, Miss Johnson, what's advice there?
Ruby, I would tell you that you need to hone the characteristics of patience, compassion, resilience, kindness, gentleness, all the fruits of spirit. But take care of yourself. Self-awareness is really important because in my book, I do remind the caregivers that you first have to take care of yourself before you can take care of others. And as far as being able to handle what comes at you daily or at different intervals, just keep God in your equation because he is the one to trust and he will lead you. Don't try to do things yourself. Think of the serenity prayer that he grants you the serenity to be able to know what you can change and what you can't change, the wisdom to know what you can't change. And just do things for yourself. Take time for yourself. Do some of the things that help you to relax because you've got to breathe. You've got to enjoy life, even though you have all of the responsibilities. I was a wife. I had to have I did wife duties. We got our grandson at 4 months old, and I was never really a parent because my husband had 2 daughters. So I had 2 bonus daughters. And then I was minister of music at a church. But that was my passion. That was my way out. That was my way to decompress. And God just does that for you. He gives you that balance. But if you don't recognize the balance, then you're not doing yourself a good service. You need to understand that there are boundaries that you have to set for yourself. Take a walk, read a book, look at your favorite movie, or cook your favorite cake. Do something to honor yourself.
I like that whole thing, Ruby, because you have to take care of yourself before you can take care of others. That's one of those classic lines that should be like in a fortune cookie or something. I mean, it's one of those things that, or maybe it's in the Bible. You got to take care of yourself first. And I know people's first inclination is, well, I got to do everything for everyone, but you're not good to them if you're not good to yourself first.
Absolutely.
Amen for that.
That's great advice. Thank you so much. I'm 3 years in being the caregiver, and I'm trying to learn that lesson.
Yes, you have to. Ruby, let me tell you another thing. I took care of my mother and my father at the same time. Both of them had dementia, different stages. Mm-hmm. I knew nothing about Alzheimer's. There was so much that I had to learn that I thought if I had learned it earlier, I would have been better at it. But you don't have to be better at just anything. Just know that God has your back. God is
Right.
with you. But I also took care of my sister. And recently my husband passed. So I was really good at being a caregiver because I had all the love that I needed. I had that agape love. And I tell you, it is a blessing. It is an honor to be able to be a caregiver because they're so important. They're needed and they're valued. And I want you to know that it is not easy. I'm not here saying today that it is easy. But if you do God's way, he makes the way. He takes you over the mountains. He makes the crooked way straight. He does those things for you. But you have to have that mental and physical balance in order to be resilient and to show a lot of love, lots and lots of love, because you could be drained, you could be burned out.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't watch it, you could be adamant about the role that you're taking. I mean, you know, there's so many complexities about caregiving, but caregiving is multifaceted. Let me tell you, you're not alone. There are so many people that are doing it now, and they're doing it under a lot of stress. And that's what my book is about. I'm hoping that my book would inspire people that are caregivers, will empower them and give them the knowledge that is needed to help them. Because this road is not easy. You give up to give to. It's a sacrificial journey. It's an ultimate sacrificial journey that requires you to hone all those characteristics of the fruits of spirit, gentleness and everything, because you're going to be tried. You're going to be upset. I was upset sometimes. I wanted to give up. And I had told my husband earlier, before I got my parents, I said, you know, I asked the Lord, because of my illness and how they took care of me, I asked the Lord to please let me be the one to take care of them in their declining years. And he honored that. So when I got my parents, I started telling my husband, I thought I was venting. And he said, no, you're complaining. And I said, I'm complaining. I said, but you just don't know this and just don't know that. He said, but I do know this. You shared with me a long time ago before we got married that you asked the Lord to let you be the one to take care of your parents in their declining years. And you know what? He honored that. And I said, because I didn't have anything else to say.
Mm-hmm.
Watch what you ask the Lord for. But you can ask the Lord for everything, and it may be a need, and he will always supply your needs.
You gotta be careful what you might ask for, because you might get it.
That's right.
You got it.
I got it.
Wow.
Well,
And
thank
it's a
you so
blessing.
much, Miss Johnson. I appreciate that.
Thank you,
Sometimes you
Ruby.
just need to hear it from someone else that you need to take a break, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
if you're no good, then yourself, and you're no good to anyone else.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much, and I will keep an eye out for that book.
All
Give
right.
me more guidance.
All right. Thank you, Ruby, for calling
Thank you.
in.
Thank
And
you for
God bless
calling
you.
in. So let's go back for a minute. When you were young, Miss Johnson, were you from? Are you from Houston?
No, I'm from Longview, Texas.
Longview, okay. And so then you went to TSU first. Was that your time coming to Houston?
Yes, that
Okay.
was my time coming to Houston.
Okay.
Yes.
So when you were growing up, did you ever think, I'm going to be an educator, I'm going to be an author? I mean, what were you thinking when you were growing up of what your life's journey was going to take you?
I thought I was going to be in the musical field.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like I was going to teach music or whatever, and I did teach music, but I taught private lessons, and I have students or people that are all over Houston, Texas, and as far as Dallas and Fort Worth,
Oh, wonderful.
that are musicians. And I even taught voice, and I had one young lady that worked with the Opera Guild at one time.
Wow, how
Yes,
wonderful.
Yes, God has just blessed me to use my craft in different ways, and I love it. But back to your question.
So going back, I have another question now, which is, as you were going through, did you ever think you were going to be a teacher? Because you were a teacher in the public schools.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
how long were you a teacher?
Long enough to retire and not have to do poster boards and still get the same salary.
There you go. There you go. And you were teacher of the year?
Yes, I was teacher of the year, and I actually wrote a lot of curriculums about different things, and I was able to incorporate diversity, equality, and inclusion.
How wonderful.
Yes.
And did you think you were going to ever be teacher of the year, or just like
No.
you're just doing what you're supposed to do and more, and then all of a sudden, bam, you got the recognition?
I'm just a creative person. I was not doing anything for any type of reward or awards or anything. I just worked that way because I loved working with children. And I love what I could instill within them. And I was one of their favorite teachers of different grade levels. I was one of their favorite teachers, and that was an honor because I have students, well, adults now that still come back, and we meet like every other 5 years. And we're on Facebook, and I'm one of the favorite teachers that they chose to invite to have a reunion.
And you taught what grade?
Third grade.
Third grade.
Oh, but that's not the end of it. I loved third grade. For 14 years, I taught third grade because they were so sweet. And they were second graders when they came to me and third graders when they left.
Mm-hmm.
But I tell you what, I moved up to fifth grade, and I was still trying to treat the students like third graders. The first day I said, okay, everybody, would you please send up your pencils, your all of your work tools so that I can put your names on them. And I noticed that it got quiet. And one student raised her hand. She was really not too sure about whether she should say what she was about to say. But she said, I was Wilson at the time. And she said, Miss Wilson, can we keep our things? I think we can keep up with them. Well, I thought right then and there, of course, they're older.
Mm-hmm.
They can keep up with their things. They're responsible. So I kind of said, great. It's wonderful that, of course, you can keep your things, and they did. So I had to move from third grade mentality to fifth grade mentality, and it didn't take me long.
How wonderful.
Yes.
And so did some of your third graders, when you went to fifth grade, were with you again?
Yes.
Oh,
absolutely.
that has to be a treat.
Absolutely. It was a treat.
Because they're like, Miss Wilson, I'm sure it was a treat. So let's go to another topic. So you got Teacher of the Year, you were a teacher, and all along you were very active in your church.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that. What does your church mean to you? And tell us how you would celebrate through singing.
Church meant to me that it was just a way that the Lord had allowed me to share my gift of being able to play instruments, teach voice, train choirs, train leaders, because I always felt like it was important to train other people to do what I could do. And they appreciated that. I was over choirs for many years, and I was always hired to make the choir better. And that was my goal, to make the choirs better. And the Lord allowed me to do that.
And what's the name of your church?
Well, I'm at a different church now. The name of the church where I am now,
Mm-hmm.
Houston's First Baptist Church.
Oh, wonderful. And are you in the choir now?
Well, I just joined there. No,
Okay.
I'm not in the choir now. I just joined about a month or two ago.
Oh, wonderful. Well, I'm sure they welcomed you with open arms.
Oh, I feel very welcome.
Isn't that beautiful? And so you even recorded some music.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Well, my husband and I did a CD while I was taking care of my parents, or while we were taking care of my parents. We did the CD Christmas in Christ. My husband and I were known as the duo. And we did weddings and a lot of different venues. But we did Christmas in Christ because he wanted to put out a Christmas album, and we did. And we had people to come to our home and work in our studio because they saw how I was we were taking care of my parents. And they brought in any instrument or all the people that were needed to make that CD whole.
How wonderful. And what were some of the Christmas songs that you had?
This is Christmas. The two of us are singing that as a duet. I love that one. I love all of them, really. I'm playing on most of them, and I did a lot of the extra sounds on the CD. Another song is Silent Night.
Yes.
Oh Holy Night.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet Little Jesus Boy. The Drummer Boy.
Oh, I love that one.
And we put in another genre, the song Jesus.
Wonderful.
There's something about that name.
Well, let's go into your book now, because that's what we really want to talk about. So your book, when did you publish it? When did it come out?
January 2024.
So it's really relatively new.
Yes.
But how long did it take you to write your book?
A long time. I started writing my book in 2009.
Wow.
And I stopped writing on it because it was not complete. My sister was my next person that I took care of. So I understood why I could not finish the book in 2009 or shortly thereafter, because I got to be a caregiver for her in 2013. So I put the book aside because I needed time to recharge and just really get my life back together. And then my husband became ill.
Mm.
And after that, I didn't want to do anything else with the book because I knew I was in the same role with my husband. But before he passed, he and I released each other. And the thing that he told me was to be as happy as we were for 35 years,
Wow.
but happier without him, and to finish and publish my book.
Oh, wow. That was his whole thing, was for you to finish that book.
Yes.
How wonderful. Oh my goodness.
Yes, it was wonderful. And it wasn't ironic because God allows things to happen for his great purpose and intentionality. In December, December was always a special month. My husband's birthday is December 6th. Then, of course, we celebrated the birth of Christ on the 25th. We got married on the 26th. And in 2021, he passed December 28th. We made 35 years, 2024, on the 26th.
Wow.
Before he passed. And I work at being happy because that's how he released me to be. He was not a selfish man. We both moved from selfishness to selflessness.
Mm.
And it was only through God that brought us together. And I know that his decision to take him into his kingdom was the right decision, because we did not want him to suffer, and he never suffered. He just had to go through the journey of making that step.
Wow. I'm feeling it right here. I'm feeling it right here. We have another caller. Let's take a quick pause because we have a Jennifer. Is there a Jennifer there?
Yes. Thank you so much.
Hello, Jennifer. You
I
have
want
me,
to
a tip from me. What do you got for us?
I just want to say how fascinated I am by this beautiful life story, and I'm very touched and also feeling like literally goosebumps from how inspirational it is. And I wanted to ask, would there be any kind of possible tip on the journey to self-love and self-forgiveness? As I have heard that being mentioned, and how would a person who is possibly feeling lost would be able to start loving themselves and also like self-forgive, especially in this beautiful week before the Easter.
Thank you for that call there, Miss Jennifer. What say you there, Miss Johnson?
I would say love yourself, forgive yourself. Don't be so hard on yourself, because we're not perfect, and we have to depend on God, because he said forgive 70 times 70. That includes yourself. And you cannot feel guilty about the things that you can't control or the things that you're not that successful at. But know that God is the way. He makes the way. He will do for you what you cannot do for yourself. Love yourself. Set your boundaries and know that you're doing the best that you can do. And what you can't do, God will be able to do that for you. He is the person that provides everything. He is your Jehovah Jireh, your provider. He does everything for you. He's present with you. He will never leave you. But if you're going to try to do everything yourself, then that's when you're going to have failures. And be okay with your failures, because if you don't give anything a try, then you will never know what it is to succeed.
Amen for that. Very good advice. You got to try. You got to try things. You got to live life. You got to do those things. And Ms. Jennifer, what say you there?
Hello?
What say you there? Any response?
Oh, yes. Thank you so much. This advice has been truly transformational. And I just can't thank you enough. And it's just beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, especially right now before the Easter. Thank you for this wonderful and transformational message.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jennifer.
Thank you, Jennifer, for calling in. God bless you.
Thank you, Ms. Jennifer. So, Ms. Johnson, let's go back to your book. So you started it in 2009. And then when your husband was about to reach the Lord, he said, honey, I want you to finish that book. And then that probably motivated you. And then you probably were writing. Actually, I think we may have another caller before I go into my next stop. Did we lose him? Okay, we lost him. So you finished the book. Tell us a little bit about the book. What are the highlights of some of the things in the book? Because I want to make sure people know about it. And, of course, I want to put in a nice plug, which is it's available on Amazon. It's available on other places where you can buy it. Soon it will be on a book on tapes. And so, it sounds like one of those books that you got to get, because we're all going to reach this place, taking care of our parents. That's because a lot of people are living longer. And with modern medicine and all the things, people are living longer. So tell us a little bit more about the book.
In the hustle and bustle of today's modern world, the role of a caregiver is profound. And it calls for unbounded empathy and love, lots and lots of love and resilience. The world of caregiving is real. And you have to understand that there are things that we don't understand. And when I first started with this book, I knew very little about caregiving. So I had that resolute commitment to solve some of the intricacies of caregiving. Not so much about the how-to-dos, but rather to explore the mental or the emotional labyrinth of this extraordinary role. But I also emphasize self-awareness. As I said before, self-care is very important, because if you don't take care of yourself, you're probably not going to last long. The person that you get giving care for may last longer than you, and you got to take care of yourself. Before you can take care of anybody else, you have to take care of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I also want to let you know that you don't have to know what you're doing at first, but you don't need to stay in that zone of not knowing. You need to be very vigilant about finding things out. And I think my book will help you do that. You don't have to be a seasoned or professional, seasoned or person or a family member that feels like you got it all together. You have to understand that caregiving is multifaceted, but you're not alone. You will find wisdom, grace, mercy, and everything else in my book, because the Lord helped me to write that book. That was my way of decompressing. I had no inkling that it was going to turn into a book. But the experiences that I went through, I needed to share. And that's what I'm doing. And that's why it's called the audacity of caring. I had the audacity of caring, not because I had to, but because I had that compassion. I had that love. I had the resilience. I had the empathy, things that I did not know about. I was very, very vigilant about finding them out. I just wish I had known some things that I learned along the way, that I'd known them earlier, so that my caregiving journey would have been just a little bit easier. But that's why I wrote the book, to help others. I am here for you. I would love to be a part of your caregiving journey. It's not easy, but there's a blessing on the other side of things. I know, because the Lord has blessed me immeasurably. And I thank him for his goodness, because he's brought me over mountains. He's brought me through the floods, but he didn't put any more on me than I could bear. And I thank him for that. I thank him for the people that have helped me to get where I am. Judy, the person that we know,
Yep.
the common person, and other mentors that have impacted my life. My sister, my husband, who is deceased now, but God bless his soul. He was 1 in a million to me. And my grandson, my nieces, different friends. And I'm going to tell you, when I wrote this book, I lost some friends, but I didn't try to figure out why, because God sent me new friends.
Oh, wonderful.
But before he sent me new friends, I was trying to resuscitate those that I was losing, and I never knew why. And I still don't know why, but that's not important, because God gives you seasons of grace and mercy. And I'm in a different season, and I thank God for it.
You know, they always say things like, well, there's not a book. How do you raise kids? There's not a book to tell you. But you know what? There's now a book. There's now a book on how to be a caregiver. And so I think it's wonderful. So I want to ask you a question, because people often talk about, well, my parents have Alzheimer's, or my parents have dementia. What are the differences, if you don't not mind sharing? You know, when you think about, what are the signs of Alzheimer's or dementia, and what's the difference? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, through experience, I can tell you that my mother and my father had Alzheimer's, and both of them had different stages. My father had stage 4, and he progressed to stage 6. I'm sorry. Stage 5 is moderately severe cognitive decline. And sometimes he would forget what day it was, but he never forgot who I was, never forgot his wife, and would always talk about things that he used to know. And he would wonder a lot. My mother had Alzheimer's, and she was in stage 4, and she progressed to stage 7. She had trouble paying bills. She would forget how to do things that she liked to do, like cooking or whatever. She just forgot those things. Now, dementia, back to your other part of your question, you did an A and B on me there, Gilbert, but I'm able to tell you dementia is a broad term describing a decline in cognitive function, severe enough to interfere with daily life. However, Alzheimer's is the most common cause of dementia.
I see.
A specific type of dementia caused by cognitive decline.
So Alzheimer's is one part of dementia.
Yes.
And they're both about sort of mental decline.
Yes. Absolutely.
Wow, very, very interesting. And of course, this is a silly question, but they don't know, right? Because they don't know they're going through Alzheimer's. They don't know they're going through dementia, and they don't know they're in stage 1 or 2 or 3 because they're just going through life, and they don't know that they're forgetting, or they don't know that they're asking you questions over and over, right?
Right.
Very, very interesting. But that's funny that you say, but they remembered you. Right? Isn't that interesting that they remembered you?
Yes. Yes. But there was a moment when my mother did not remember me, and it hurt me to my heart. I went to, after not being able to keep them in our home because my mother fell twice, and the doctor said if she falls again, it's a possibility that it would be fatal. So we had to consider putting them in a facility, and we, of course, looked at several facilities. And I went there one day, and she didn't know me. And it hurt me to my heart. I cried all the way home, and I cried during the night. So the next day, I was at a certain office, a friend of mine, and I told her about it. And she said, "Oh, I know exactly what I need to get you." And what she did, she got me this. I don't know whether you can zoom in on this or not, but she got me this.
Let's try. Let's lift that up higher. We're going to zoom in right now if we can.
This is
There we go. We're zooming in
the
now.
heart, and it says the heart never forgets. And the next day I went back to the facility, and my mother did recognize me.
Wow. You know what? That was the Lord's intervention, because He knew how much it meant to you for her to recognize you.
Absolutely.
And He made sure that she did.
Absolutely.
Wow. And so when you think about memories of your parents, I'm sure there are so many. What's one that sticks out in your mind when you were growing up about your parents?
Well, about my dad. My dad and I would go to the grocery store every Saturday, and he would pay for a pint of ice cream. And he would take his knife and cut it in half, and he would give me the part with the top on it. And we would eat ice cream during the time that we were shopping, and I really enjoyed that. But that's my vice now. I love ice cream.
And it's Daddy, I still think about you when I have that ice cream.
Absolutely, I do. And then I was his running partner, or he was my running partner, and he whistled. And I learned how to whistle. And I was like, those were days that I really just cherished, because my father, I was a daddy's baby. Wow. I guess you can guess that by now. But my mother and I were friends. She was my mother first. She was my friend. I could talk to her about anything. And my mother and I would sing together. I would play and she would sing, and I would sing. So we enjoyed those things together. It was just wonderful.
Is your book is it in your voice talking about your experience with your parents, or is it more just general?
No, I do have some areas that are part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4 of my experiences with my parents.
All along the journey?
My sister, yes.
Oh, wow.
All along the journey.
How powerful.
Yes.
How powerful. And when you look back at your book, when you look at and you read it like today, do you say, boy, I can't believe I went through that? Joe, Lord, I can't believe you put me. I mean, what feeling do you get?
You're on it. I can't believe some of the things that I wrote. And when I read it, it's so gratifying. It's just fulfilling to know that I was able to capture all the things that are in my book, the experiences, the research that I did, the things that I learned. I mean, it was just gratifying.
Wow.
As an author, and to be able to say that I got it published, it's a dream come true. But like I said, I knew my purpose in life because all along the Lord was with me on a faith journey. And he has just brought so many connections and gave me that discerning power to be able to realize those connections and to understand that I was in different seasons and different stages. You have to own your season. Whatever it is, you have to own it. And because my sister was battling with cancer, and she told me, but I'm okay. She owned cancer. Cancer didn't own her. She was still vibrant. She was still positive about things, even when she was dying. And my husband and I took her in our home, and we took care of her at our home as well until she passed. My husband said she can stay here.
Wow.
For as long as the Lord allows her to stay here. And she did. And my husband said to me one day, he said, I really admire how you've shown your love for your parents and for your sister. He said, I know I married the right one. I know we're equally yoked. Now, he knew some things before then, of course, but for him to tell me that, and he said, and it's in my book, I didn't think I could love you any more than I already do. But when I saw how you took care of your parents and your sister, I realized I did love you more. I could love you more. You are something else.
It's like a whole nother level of love,
yes.
right? It's a whole level of admiration.
Yes.
I had a similar thing where my sister-in-law, so that's my wife's brother, and he got married, so it's his wife. She got diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, and they live in the valley, which is on the border of Mexico, on this side, of course. And she would come in for treatment at MD Anderson, and they would stay at our house. And she went through treatment for about a year, and I've never seen someone, and maybe I just hadn't been touched before by the finger of God, but to see her go through this, you would think, and if it were mere mortal Gilbert Garcia, I would have been mad at God. I'd have been screaming. I'd have been mad at the world. Not her. She had this aura of goodness and loving and kind, and she went through life like it was just another gift. And even to the very, very moment when the doctor said, there's nothing we can do for you now. We're going to send you home, and we're going to, bless you. And I remember she came to our house, and my wife called me and said, they're sending Tanya home. There's nothing they can do anymore. And my heart sunk. And I raced home. It was during the day. And those of you who know me, it's hard to get me out of here in the daytime. But I went home, and I thought I was expecting to see her and her husband crying. Everything. No, they were just, it was this aura, like they were ready, and God had given them that grace and that strength. And we took pictures together. Yes. And she talked about, don't cry for me. I've lived a great life. And it was an extraordinary experience for me growing up this was just like a year ago, but I grew up through that process. Yes, so you know exactly what I mean.
I know exactly what you mean. And I feel you too.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this. You're going to be doing your book on tape. Are you going to read it? Or you're going to get someone to read it, a reader?
No, I selected a narrator from different voices
Oh,
from,
how wonderful.
from different ethnicities as
Yep.
well.
So you have more than one voice?
No, it will be the same voice.
Okay, okay. And when will you record it and get it ready? When will it be available?
Well, it's already at Amazon, and it's going through the process of being, meeting their specification. And there are 4 stages, and we've already passed stage 1. So it should be soon. It takes a while with Amazon because they want to make sure that it meets their specification, and I appreciate that.
Well, I'm sure they want to make sure it is. This is a weird way to say it, but of the right quality and the sound
Absolutely.
and all that, because I mean, it's a real product, and they want to make sure it does the whole book justice.
Absolutely.
I can understand. Well, you're not going to believe this. Remember the old show Carol Burnett?
Of course.
Remember Carol Burnett? And the song at the end was that song, I'm so glad we had this time together to have a laugh and sing along. And just before you know it, comes the time we have to say so long. Are you ready for this? We've been on an hour.
Oh, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
You just arrived here. I just hugged you. And
yes.
It's an hour.
I can't believe it. You have you've been an excellent host.
Well,
I felt so relaxed. Of course, God got me ready.
God did that.
God did that.
And
I have to give him the credit. Yep. Oh, yes.
And through an instrument on this show, which is me.
Yeah,
and
you're the conduit.
There you go. And so we're going to have our ad at the end, but I want you to look at that camera right there, because you're going to look at Houston, and I just want you got about a minute or two here, give the last words about what it means to you to write this book, and any advice you have for people who are going through being a caretaker or caregiver and going through it, because it is hard, and going through it wondering, why me, Lord, and why are my parents not, remembering me, and all those feelings that go through your mind. So what do you want to say to those people?
I want to say that you are valuable as a caregiver. Your role is important. You are anointed with God's favor. If you're in his will, keep him first. Trust in him. Know that he will supply all of your needs. Trust not yourself. Don't come up with your self-rule. We make a lot of mistakes. We make a lot of things difficult because of the way we think that we can solve things. He's there for you. Let him know your needs. When I wrote this book, I started off thinking, okay, I got this. I can do this. I'm educated. I can write a book. I can tell about my experiences. Oh, but no, I failed so many times. And I could have been angry or embittered because of my failures, but I thought about it, and the Lord let me understand that a lot of things that I was including in my equation weren't even needed in my core values or my core needs. You just have to let things go. In my book, if you get it, I know that it will transform the way you feel and think about caregiving. Your role is important, but it's not easy. There are unsung heroes that tell about their joys and tribulations that come with their incredible dedication. I have some people who were caregivers, and they were willing to be a part of my book, to share their journey as caregivers. You need to read about it. There's so much commonalities that we have as caregivers. You need to talk to people, talk to friends, set some boundaries. I tell you about the different organizations that are there to help you. Set up your support team. That's important. talk to the person, first of all, that you're going to be taking care of. See what their needs are. See if you can collaborate and come together on both sides, you as a caregiver and that person that you're giving care to. Always know that there is a God that gives us new mercies every morning. We're not consumed. And because of that, he's faithful. He's steadfast. The steadfast blessings that come, you can depend on him.
Amen.
Men may let you down, but God will be there for you. Just let him in your life. Let him show you the way. Let him be the way. His way is the right way, the only way.
The only way.
And God bless you. That's
Amen. Houston, you heard it all here. I know we're running out of time. We're to tee up the commercial, and we'll see you next time.
Prayer. Listen to my show every Monday from 11 to 12 on KWWJ 1360 AM, KYOK 1140 AM, KCOH at 1230 KCOH.com, Sankeet Radio at 95.1 FM, 1460 AM, and Latino Sports, KEYH 850 AM. Call in at 832-570-8075 and follow me on social media. See you then.